SADTU has rejected the new Education Minister, D.A. Siviwe Gwarube, right from the beginning of her appointment. SADTU says it's because the DA has no interest in addressing issues faced by Black teachers. Before we get into it, welcome to Citizen Concerned, where we remind you to beware of the comrades. I'm Katlego and would appreciate it if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, joined our channel membership, or donated to support the work that we do. And don't forget to like and share this video with other citizens. Let's get into it. Here's the first contradiction.
We have acknowledged that the president has the prerogative to appoint whoever they want to appoint, and the appointment is in terms of that prerogative, and therefore we acknowledge that. However, we must say that this is an affront for the appointment of Nosibio because
So the president has a prerogative, but you will not allow him to fully exercise it. Aye? Anyway, let's proceed to the good old transformation.
DA has been clear in terms of rejecting those transformational policies that the Department of Basic Education wanted to implement, including rejecting the Bella Bill that basically wanted to help us to deal with issues of language, which would address the issues of discrimination in our school based on language. And therefore,
so that's the only evidence of transformation you have, learners being educated in their home language. What about transformation of the quality of education? Transformation of the poor quality classrooms and sanitation in schools? Transformation of the number of pupils per teacher? Transformation of the number of textbooks per class, transformation in the availability of resources such as libraries, science and computer labs, and good quality teachers. When you say transformation, that's what my brain rushes to, not just language. It seems like transformation is just a hot word that everybody wants to use when they want to appear to care about poor Black people. But when you ask them for evidence of this transformation, dololo. Seriously, what has SADTU said or done about the fact that there are a bunch of teachers who don't comprehend the information they are teaching? You simply want to flood our schools with a bunch of teachers that are incompetent. Anyway, here's an extract from the DA manifesto on this. The national government's failure to enhance the quality of education stems from their belief that the failures of the education system are solely a result of the legacies of apartheid. The ANC's strategy for improving school quality involves intervening in the admission and language policies of remaining high-performing schools, rather than focusing on enhancing the quality of failing schools. Additionally, the rights and comforts of teachers are prioritized at the expense of the child's best interests. And what he says next is proof of this.
Transformation. Who does not believe in equity, who does not believe in the ingrained and meshed narrative, which is very deficit in terms of the student achievement, and only understanding that students achieve because they must work very hard. And not understanding that opportunities and the environment is very important for those particular students.
It's not all about hard work, but we cannot deny that hard work has a place that nothing else will replace. What did the wise King Solomon say? All hard work brings profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. The union leaders' type of talk makes some people who come from disadvantaged backgrounds adopt and hold on to the dangerous mindset that no matter how hard they work, no matter how much effort they put in, it will never help because the system is rigged against them. The fact of the matter is, while being brought up with opportunities, exposure, privilege gives you an added advantage, being born in the opposite environment is not a seal on your fate that you will never make it to the same or even greater heights than those born into advantageous environments. Richard Maponya is an example of this. The children of Sokaisa Secondary School are proof of this. This is a school filled with disadvantaged children, but it has pursued excellence for many years. These are kids that are being taught by dedicated teachers. The teachers are led by a visionary principal. You know what? Forget about Richard Maponya and Sokaisa Secondary. I can tell you about my mom, who definitely was someone who grew up during apartheid. She was raised in a poor family, using rice bags as her school bag, wearing secondhand clothes that my granny brought from the missus that she worked for as a domestic worker. She and her siblings were raised in poverty, first in Walmanstal and then in Soshanguve. The struggle didn't end in her childhood but continued into her adult life. She was an unemployed single mother of 4 children who was determined to give herself and her children a better life. From selling ice lollies and snacks to acha, snookfish and fat cakes. From studying hard to qualifying to becoming a teacher, losing the job and then writing her CV by hand due to no access to computers. Even after getting a job, she bought items like handbags and cosmetics, and while we were on a bus to work, her going to work and us going to school, she was selling to the passengers on the bus. I witnessed a lot of the hard work that she put in to make something of herself, my brothers and I. Through her hard work at work and in her side hustles, she managed to move us to better quality schools and to get us a home. She managed to send me to better schools all the way to university. I learned about hard work from her. She was a hustler, and from her, I have learned to always make a plan. She saved her money, and I have learned to love saving and not waste my money on silly things. She loves studying. She has made sure to upskill herself over and over and over again. And now I can tell you that she rose to becoming a senior manager. If she had chosen to say, I am a single mother of 4 children, men have betrayed me, apartheid put me at a disadvantage, my father passed away and my mother was a domestic worker, where would she be right now? Where would I be right now? Privilege for some comes from looting. For example, Edwin Sodi's children may never want for anything. The same applies for Mamkize's children. The same applies for Zuma's children. But there are some of us who are children of hard workers. I became more privileged because my mother worked for it. She worked hard for it. I know she refused to leave her 4 children with her mother. My grandmother told her to leave us with her in Soshanguve when she got a job in Johannesburg. But my mother said wherever she is, her children will also be there. Through her contribution in my life, I realized that having a mother is also a privilege. What does it feel like to grow up knowing that you only see your mother during some weekends and some holidays? I suspect that it is relatively hard. Bottom line, please don't listen to people who want to make it seem like hard work has no place on the path to success. Even those with money cannot maintain, grow, or hold on to that money if they do not learn to make that money work hard for them. Work hard on your academics, your business, your passion. It will pay off. Yes, having a certain environment may be advantageous, but what happens to us who don't have those environments? We must just give up on our dreams of matriculating with good grades, getting into university and getting degrees, becoming key persons of influence in various industries? Absolutely not. We will not be defined by where we come from. So, Mr. Maluleke, since you have realized that opportunities and environments are so key to our children's success in school, what have you done about it? Have you, as SADTU, significantly improved the state of the environment and opportunities for the kids in poor areas? Okay, what have you achieved as SADTU?
We have created an environment where labor peace has been there for many, many years, and that is very important.
Members of the South African Democratic Teachers Union are marching in Durban. They're set to hand over a memorandum of demands to the Department of Education in the province.
We have created an environment where labor peace has been there for many, many years, and that is very important.
Surrounded by a sea of red as SADTU members, teachers have really come out in their numbers, and this is all because they are disgruntled with several.
We have created an environment where labor peace has been there for many, many years, and that is very important.
SADTU has achieved labor peace, huh? Yeah, right. We believe you, sir. So we have 1, transformation, and 2, labor peace. And we interrupt that list of SADTU's achievements to shift to SADTU's accusations.
It's not an issue. The issue is those beliefs and ideologies that the DA still have, that you have the poor and the working class must always accept the inferior status, and this white supremacy mentality is governing the DA throughout.
Well, let's read a portion of the DA's manifesto to hear how they want to ensure that the poor and working class accept an inferior status and white supremacy. Furthermore, the present strategy for delivering education emphasizes the expansion of access to education, but neglects the crucial aspect of enhancing the quality of education. Despite increased access, learners often fail to achieve the necessary skills for meaningful employment, underscoring the disparity between expanded access and genuine educational advancement. Consequently, the education system falls short in imparting foundational reading, writing, and numeracy skills to children during their initial 4 years of schooling. A stark illustration of this failure is the fact that 81% of grade 4 learners struggle with reading comprehension. Did you read the portion of white supremacy there? Please leave a comment below sharing which part exactly represents white supremacy. What have SADTU, who are against white supremacy and for transformation, done for the children of the poor and the working class?
There is that problem that, of course, about 500,000 learners sat for matric, and then, of course, 400,000 passed. But at the beginning of their education, when they started grade 1, there was over 1 million of them. Yeah. So, you know, the question is raised as to what happened to those 500,000 learners. From your perspective as SADTU, interacting with the education system and so on, why are there those casualties? Why are people not able to see through from year 1 to year 18?
Now, the fact of the matter is that education is by all means a societal issue. It's one issue that cannot be left to just a teacher and a learner in a classroom situation. So we're always calling for increased parental involvement. Those are some of the interventions that we see working in the best education systems in the world.
So when you're failing, you want parental and societal involvement, yet through the Bella Bill, which you support, you want to take the power and involvement from parents and the community and place it in the government. Does that even make sense?
You do have your critics as SADTU, that sometimes SADTU is part of the problem in the education system, that you know, many of your members choose to come and go to work as they please, lack of consistency, protest action every now and again, a go slow sort of attitude, which affects the learners, you know, and it's not their fault and so on. So what's your view on that?
Well, nothing could be further from the truth. A fact is that we have not had any industrial action within the sector over the past 8 years.
Well, is that true? He claims that the union had not had any industrial action over the last 8 years. But what's this from a year before this interview?
Well, learning and teaching came to a grinding halt as more than 20,000 teachers took to the streets of Pretoria to voice their frustrations. The teachers were demanding that the Department of Higher Education as well as Basic Education Department address their ongoing struggles. NN7 reporter Masechaba Glamini was there and filed this report.
Weeks before learners sit for their final exams for 2017, teachers affiliated to the South African Democratic Teachers Union embarked on a national strike.
First, we took a mandate from the members. What matters to us as a union is that we are member-driven. So our members then said to us through the National Executive Committee and through various structures, they said that we are unhappy in various sectors, being the CET sector, being the TVET sectors, and they said that SADTU must fight, and that is precisely what we're doing. So from there onwards, we then interacted with all our structures, particularly in 6 provinces, mostly the inland provinces, and mainly Gauteng, of course. And we said, let the members come out in their numbers.
The same gentleman, Olani Fakude, who claimed that SADTU had not had industrial action in the last years, was present at one of SADTU's strikes a year prior to the interview. And don't get me wrong, I believe that issues such as poor working conditions and low wages should be resolved. But is this the best way to resolve these issues? You should care about poor learners and consider the short and long-term effects of this industrial action on those learners. The learners in South Africa are already struggling, lacking resources, being provided poor quality education, and you think depriving them of even more education time is the best way to resolve these issues. And who suffers the most? Is it not the poorest of the poor, the previously disadvantaged who cannot afford to take their children to private schools and get them private teachers and tutors? Oh, but you are revolutionaries, fighting for our people, doing it for the marginalized, the same marginalized that you are hurting even more. Yeah, ne? It is your fault that teachers are becoming more important than pupils now. There is no union that is above the rest of the citizens, and there is no union that is more important than the students.
What's your fears and what informs that fears? Do you think that the president will bow under the pressure from the Democratic Alliance, for instance, to repeal? This is now from the ANC side. The Bella Act.
Yes, we believe that she's going to have to attempt to repeat, to reverse that, because the DA did not support it. The president hasn't signed it as yet, and we wonder why the president has not signed it, because the president signed a number of bills just before the elections, and then only left this one out, and therefore it leaves us with that particular question mark on why this one was left out.
Well, that's a bit silly. Simply because the president didn't sign a bill means that the DA caused him not to sign it. Then how do you apply your logic to the NHI bill? The DA was and is still against the NHI bill, yet the president signed it. Just some flawed logic, Mr. Union, sir. You see how they create scenarios in their heads, come to the news channels and spread these scary scenarios to the entire nation. Again, when listening to the comrades speaking, don't be lulled by the lies. Remain wide awake, take note of what they're saying, and do a quick Google search or find another way to research to verify how much of what they're saying is true and how much of it is a lie.
President of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa, is leading a divided house. And in that particular divided house, people are putting their interest first, and therefore he is being compromised. And because he's compromised, he will not live up to those particular ideas and those particular priorities, as we said, that we support him for that. Therefore, he's been compromised because he's leading a highly divided house.
What does it mean? What do you mean by he's been compromised or he has been compromised?
He's been compromised because it's no longer about the interest of the country, the interest of us in education, and the interest of everyone in health and everywhere else. It is the interest of those particular people who are in leadership, which position they would want to occupy. And therefore, these particular decisions, therefore, they impact on his prerogative because he's compromised. So he's no longer driving his own goal and a vision that he had when we endorsed him. Compromise that you can't exercise your authority.
Okay.
You can't exercise your intelligence. You can't exercise your vision. Your vision is always to be clouded by the interest of those who are surrounding you. So therefore, you no longer are able to be decisive. You cannot be authoritative.
Well, when the president was accommodating the particular interests of the trade unions, it was all good, wasn't it? When the trade unions were surrounding the president, his vision was not clouded. Is his vision only clouded when he's surrounded by members of the DA party, but when he's surrounded by members of the ANC, SADTU, SACP, SADTU, vision is clear? Was his vision clear when he had Angie Motshekga as a Minister of Basic Education? The same Angie Motshekga that your union members went to the streets to strike for her to be removed. The vision was clear then, huh? Okay, cool. Got it.
These teachers were meant to be in front of the classrooms today. Instead, they brought Pretoria's CBD to a standstill with a clear message.
The writing is on the wall. Bobby and the Minister Angie should leave.
Matsecha has been given the red card for failing to change the ailing education system.
Your influence is the good one. Your influence is the one that leads to success. For who? The only people benefiting from all this nonsense are the trade union leaders. You are on a high horse inside a barn which you set on fire. But eventually, we all burn down, including you and your dumb communist ideas.
And so under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have really given the DA the basic education ministry.
Under normal circumstances, the ANC wouldn't have dreamt of offering the DA or any party a single cabinet position. But you haven't caught on yet. We find ourselves in the era of new normal circumstances. These normal circumstances include the ANC no longer holding a majority, instead co-governing with other parties in what we call a government of national unity. It's also a time when the once mighty influence of trade unions has diminished, replicating the decline in the ANC's own influence. So let's embrace these new circumstances. The sooner we all accept that this is the fresh, normal circumstances, the sooner we can roll up our sleeves and start tackling the real issues, like helping the poor, supporting the working class, and generally making South Africa awesome for everyone. Cheers to the new normal. Of course, the new normal means that people like you will become less important, and I think it's a good thing. Your communist agendas have terrorized this country for far too long.
Yeah, we have got the National Education Policy Act that dictates that the trade unions will be consulted as part of the law of this country. Therefore, the minister must really, commit to that she will not see us as enemies, but see us as partners so that we are able to protect the environment for our children, to have labor peace, to have education. That is our priority.
And you will also see her as a partner, not as an enemy.
And so under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have really given the DA the basic education ministry, knowing very well that labor peace is fundamental in education.
How does having the DA as a Minister of Basic Education take away from labor peace? Are you saying that you'll oppose labor peace because Siviwe is the new Minister of Education? History shows that even when Angie Motshega was the minister, there were various SADTU incidents that opposed labor peace, Moss.
We are saying that if she doesn't go, we have convened what we call a campaigns committee to come up with an action, a rolling mass action where we are going to declare a strike.
It's actually a sad day because the learners mostly will be affected. Therefore, we wait as the Department of Basic Education to meet with SADTU, as we always do, for SADTU to approach the Ministry of Basic Education to want to discuss those matters with the minister.
Unfortunately, with the unions, we have seen that when one union chooses to strike and another chooses to refrain from striking, they are bullied into striking, bringing the country into a halt for selfish reasons.
The South African Democratic Teachers Union has decided to stand up to fellow union affiliate, that's NEHAL, saying it will not be bullied. Earlier on this week, SADTU members found themselves under attack by striking NEHAL members and ultimately forced into joining their protest. The Teachers Union claims this is all part of an agenda by NEHAL to liquidate SADTU and DUNOSA.
I don't know about you, but I'm seeing more harm than good to the education system through these unions. As the DA indicated in their manifesto, in contrast, the DA believes that the failures of the education system are because the ANC has been unable to address the terrible legacy of unequal education after 3 decades in government, because it has allowed our education system to be captured by the vested interest of the South African Democratic Teachers Union, SADTU. The DA is dedicated to expanding the availability of quality education while preserving and not interfering with pockets of excellence in the existing system. We will prioritize the improvement of the public education system while remaining open to opportunities for collaboration with the private sector. Our approach focuses on putting the rights and interests of learners first.
The first thing that is going to happen is that we remain part of the alliance through SADTU. And then we know that we have got the national democratic revolution that will have to deliver equity, social justice, and social cohesion for our people. And therefore, we still see the ANC as that particular vehicle within the alliance. And therefore, we'll continue to make sure that we work hard to ensure that the ANC is renewed. And renewal will be that those who are criminals, those who are corrupt, and those who are in the state capture find their way to go out of the African National Congress so that we can deliver for the people of our country.
Oh, now the renewal is going to be taken seriously. Your reputation without the DA seems to have been very, very colorful, to say the least. You're not going to deceive us with your claims of transformation and labor peace, sir. Accept that Siviwe is our new Minister of Education. Give her an opportunity to help our teachers and children bring about genuine transformation in the lives of these children through education. Every school can become a senior secondary school. If you missed that video that we made on that school, the link is in the description box below. Please check it out. Dear Mr. Maluleke, dear SADTU, put your pride and selfish desires aside. Think about the children of the poor, the working class, and all South Africans. Work together with the goal of improving those children's lives. And once that becomes your true goal, you will work well with Minister Siviwe. How refreshing to have ministers not from the ANC or their previous allies. We are on the way to an interesting era. Don't let the people down, guys. DA, Patriotic Alliance, all of the members of the GNU, do not let the people down. Do the best you can and speak up about the problems that you can't fix because the ANC is stopping you. That is very important. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Katlego. This is Citizen Concern. And until next time, beware of the comrades.